What is up guys, Andy Forrestine Runner here, back with an interesting video for you today. Today we're diving into the world of carbon plated shoes versus non-carbon plated shoes. As a lot of you guys know, there is so much noise going around on social media and in the running world at the moment around carbon based plated shoes, and sadly it's not all positive. So for me that left me with one conclusion. I had to do my own little test between a non-carbon plated shoe and a carbon plated shoe. For those of you eagle-eyed people, you might have noticed on Strava last week I ended up doing 6 by 4 minutes on with 2 minutes jog recovery. Well, I repeated that workout last night, when you see it. It was Tuesday evening this week in a carbon plated shoe. The first week was in the Nike Pegasus Turbo 2 and last night was in the Hoka One Carbon X. And I've got some interesting data to share with you, albeit this isn't the most scientific test, but it might hopefully, as I say, get a healthy debate going in the comments about the difference between the two shoes and really, is there that much of a difference? Before we dive into it, we're going to cut to some in-action shots of me doing the workout and giving you some live feedback as we're going from last Tuesday and this Tuesday, just very quickly so you can see how I was feeling during the workout, and then we'll get into the juicy bits. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and without further ado, let's jump to that action footage.
Okay, that's the second rep done. Feeling okay but working hard. So I'm doing about a minute and a half jog and then a 30-second walk back to the start line, just to give myself a bit of a breather. But yeah, so far so good. Okay, that's 4 out of 6 done. Feeling strong but getting tired. So I've paced these to perfection. I have no idea what the pace is. I'm starting and finishing at exactly the same place, which is all I can ask for. Pacing is key in workouts, so that's for another video. I've just got 2 more to do, so I'm going to do a minute jog up here, 30 seconds walk back to the rep start line, which is, you can see in the road right here, that double, that line there. We'll get these last 2 done. Six by 4 minutes done with 2 minutes jog slash walk recovery. Recovery, as I said, was 1.5 minutes jog and a gentle walk back to the start. Right, very quickly, so we've got 10 seconds before we go. Feeling good, feeling fine, but no different to last week pace-wise. See how the next 2 fare. Okay, so that's 4 out of 6 done. I'm definitely working harder tonight, I think, for around about the same pace. If anything, it's going to be marginally quicker or marginally slower, but overall I think it's low 5:30s. I think you'll see all on screen at the end. Either way, 2 to go, and it's going to be tough, much tougher than last week. Okay, 6 out of 6 done. That was hard. Pace is on screen, I have no idea. I suspect they're the same, maybe marginally quicker, maybe marginally slower. Either way, they're about the same, which is fine. Consistency is key.
So there you go, that is the in-action footage that you saw. And as you saw, I struggled a little bit more in the Hoka One Carbon X than I did in the Nike Pegasus Turbo 2. I'm not saying it was a shoe, but certainly the workout last night was much more difficult for whatever reason than it was the week before. But before we jump into any of that, my thoughts and feelings, we're going to go through the data very quickly, which I will pop on screen shortly. And a quick shout out to Tim, a subscriber of the channel, who also has his own YouTube channel. He's done a similar test well, a different type of test, but a similar concept. So I got a bit of inspiration from his video where he did some Yasso 800s and split it across 5 different shoes, which was a great testing model. And I thought I wanted to do something myself to kind of go through the difference in my mind and settle some debates that I had going on in my head, and hopefully some of the debates that are going on in your head about these carbon plated versus non-carbon plated shoes. So in terms of the splits and everything, sadly, I don't have heart rate monitor because I don't have a heart rate monitor that's working at the moment, nor do I have a power meter, so I can't check with power. So at the moment, as per my training block, it's all about training by feel and training by pace. So we've got raw pace and gap pace to measure and compare against. And as you can see on screen, if you have a look in the 2 different columns, I've put the repetitions out there, the times, the average pace, the distance covered, the average pace, and then the gap pace. So the gap pace is slightly lower than the rep pace because the repetitions that we were doing were on uneven ground. It wasn't flat, it was what I would call a sharp downhill. Then we had a long climb and then a sharp downhill to finish. It was more uphill than downhill, hence why the gap pace is slightly lower, because the effort on flat would have been a little bit lower. But either way, we kept the same route, started in exactly the same place and finished what felt like in both attempts on both workouts in the same place. But as you can see, the Carbon X just edged the results, coming in at an average pace of just over 2 seconds quicker per rep, or as an average overall. You can see there's not much difference there, but where we have 5.28333 recurring in the non-carbon plated shoes, we had 5.30333 recurring in the Carbon X, and then of course the gap pace is reflected there as well. So overall, in terms of the statistics that we have, the Carbon X has edged the results. What does that mean though in terms of my thoughts and feelings? So overall, I'm kind of disappointed really that I didn't get more of an edge in the Carbon X, to be perfectly honest with you. Now again, I get a lot of you are going to say the data that you're testing isn't great, but what I did, just to give you a quick overview, is that I just kept the variables as close as possible. It was about 5 degrees colder last night compared to last week, so that was the only major difference. The wind had died down to a point where it was about similar as last week, and other than that, I took the GoPro selfie stick with me, did exactly the same filming, got a clip on each rep where I was running, holding the GoPro stick out, so that was hindering me a little bit on each rep, but I wanted to mirror exactly what I did the week before. And other than that, everything else was the same bar the shoes, which was great, so I literally matched it as best as I possibly could. Now, at this pace, at this stage, I'm happy to see progress between the 2 weeks. I've got to say, though, that running in the Carbon X was harder. Now, I don't know if that was a mental thing. I'm going to put my hands up and be honest. I'm not going to lie. I'm wondering if there was a mental aspect there of me thinking I should be running faster in the carbon plated shoe, because that is what we're told that we should be able to do. We should be able to run faster in a carbon plated shoe. It helps our running economy. Therefore, was I working harder? Because I certainly suffered more in the Carbon X workout. It was a real grind to get to that 6th rep. Whereas in the Pegasus Turbo 2, there was absolutely no pressure. I just went out there and had a great time. And ultimately, although the times were very, very slightly slower, I felt great, completely different to this week. So in terms of that, I've got to be honest with you, I'm a little bit disappointed that the Carbon X didn't deliver more so than the Pegasus Turbo 2. And referring back to a lot of the comments that you guys leave, the Turbo 2 is quite a sloppy shoe. It's a shoe that I find great, I'm gravitating towards a lot, but sloppy is a great word to describe it. You get no natural sort of pop off from the ground. There's no meta rocker there to make you feel like you're standing on the edge of a step and you just want to get your legs moving. You are doing pretty much all of the work. And with these carbon plated shoes, we're led to believe that actually they're going to aid us in our stride, they're going to aid us in our economy, and they're going to help us get through our turnover quicker, our cadence is going to be higher, and it just, for me, it just didn't sit right after finishing the workout. I just feel that I've been left with this feeling of, especially with everyone talking about the Nike Next Percent, with it being this magic cheating shoe, I've got to say that if it is that much better, which I haven't tried and I can't confirm it, it's got to be the Zoom X foam, because the Carbon X just gave me barely any extra advantage. As I said, 2 seconds on average quicker is decent, and in 1 week, I'm quite happy with that progress. But to be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't bother lacing up the Carbon X again to go and do that workout. I whack back on the Turbo 2s and just go and do it again, in the hopes that when I put the Carbon X on for race day, like we did at Gloucester Half Marathon, it will feel absolutely brilliant. So those are my thoughts and findings. I'd love to know if you guys have done similar tests. I'd love to know if you've done a workout where you have run in one type of shoe and then run in another. And I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. As I said, I put my hands up and say this isn't the most conclusive test, but it's a test that I could do the best to my abilities to try and determine what shoe would come out on top. And I've got to be honest with you, I'm slightly disappointed that the Carbon X didn't give me more of an edge than I thought I would get. But there we go, just my thoughts, guys. Would love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this whole carbon plate debate, and I'm excited to eventually get my foot into a pair of Next Percents just to see what the difference is, and if it is the Zoom X foam that makes all the difference. So if you enjoyed today's video, guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.